And then another example. This is a normal office, right? As we know it, it has a computer. It certainly has a fax machine. It has a telephone. It probably, let's say it has Skype there, right? So if technology was really that good, and that's what those companies try to tell us, why do Windows and Cisco still have offices? They could spend so much money and just have their employees sit at home, right? If the technology was so good and there is no difference between a video conference or a personal meeting. Well, they certainly do still have offices. So I ask myself, if technology was that good, why do they? And the last example is something I call distortion reality. I know that some internet providers have the picture of augmented reality, right? Extended reality. I call this distortion reality. This is one of my best friends, Finn. He's in Europe, and he's certainly not aware that I took this picture of Facebook. What this picture could show you online is, if someone tags it, it could say, Finn had a wild party. This is Saturday morning. He had a wild party on Friday night. He came home early morning, and he was a little bit tipsy, so he went right in the sun balcony and fell asleep, right? This is something the internet could tell you. Well, this is actually distortion. Because if I tell you that Finn was a law student, graduated from one of the best schools in Germany as law student, as valedictorian, as best of his class, and after that he got his PhD, he worked on his PhD for 3 years straight, no vacation, nothing. And that was the day, and that's actually true, he handed in his thesis. And he was so exhausted that he came home, and we actually wanted to surprise him and have a party, and he just fell asleep. But the internet, if you have not been there, can tell you anything. They can manipulate you. So whenever someone tells you, ooh, ITB Asia is really sucked this year, which I hope no one says, you have been here yourself. And it's not only that you do not depend on someone else's opinion, you might have a totally different opinion. And that's why I think it's so important to talk about the people. 11 days, 17 hours and 34 minutes was the flight time I had in the last quarter on board of a flying airplane. Some of you heavy travelers might wonder, is he just working part-time or what? Well, I think that's quite a bit. It does not include, getting your ticket, going to the airport, spending the time abroad and all that. So why did I bother to spend that much time meeting people personally? Well, I looked back at it because I knew this presentation was coming up. And I looked at the meetings I had, and I just have a few of them, and I want to share those with you because they pretty clearly say that, these things probably would not have occurred if technology was involved. At ITB Berlin, I met Susan. Susan was from a major hotel brand, and Susan told me that the biggest problem hotels have is actually, they can market themselves and they can create brands, but the actual product you can only value if you're at their property, right? The service, the food, the drinks, the quality of the rooms. You actually need to be there and in a personal touch with them, with the hotels. I met Andreas in Frankfurt, and we talked about ITB, how it was going, and we chatted a little bit. And then Andreas came up and said, you know what? I think we should have a luxury meetings forum. I think that would be a pretty good idea to actually have this special segment within the travel industry. So we chatted about that. We developed some ideas. And now, as you know, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we will have the luxury meetings forum here at Suntec. This was only because we met and we talked about it. We played some ideas back and forth. I don't think if I would have chatted with Andreas, I just called him to have a chat about random things that would actually have developed the same idea. Let's skip that a little bit. I met Jared and I met Deepika. And Deepika, coincidentally, in Mumbai, ran into another person, an Egyptian, and he said, "Oh, you work for Messer Berlin." Deepika is one of our colleagues in India. And he said, "Oh, you work for Messer Berlin. What a coincidence. Because, I was wondering if we could become partner country and if Messer Berlin or ITB Asia has one yet." Well, certainly at that point we didn't. So that coincidence that they ran into each other made basically Egypt become our partner country for this year. Then I met Wilson in Hong Kong, and I don't bother to share all this with you. Nancy was the one I met in Singapore. She actually gave us the idea of having an associations day, which actually starts right now. So you can see that personal meetings mean a lot, and that a lot of those ideas come from small talk. You talking to someone, picking up an idea, bringing it to someone else. So as the person matters the most, the people you personally meet, let me finish my presentation by introducing myself. My name is Nino Gruettke. I'm the Executive Director of ITB Asia. And the easiest way to understand me is learn, love, and laugh. I currently learn a lot in the travel industry at ITB Asia, and I learn a lot from my batchmates at the Nanyang MBA, which represent 27 different countries. And I certainly learn a lot from Messer Berlin, which is the exhibition organizer, because the exhibition industry gives you such great exposure to all different sorts of industries. And I love, certainly, everyone does. Everyone loves different things. I certainly love my girlfriend. And I love to read as well. So one of my favorite books, or my favorite authors, is actually Malcolm Gladwell. And I know what you're thinking now, but I'm not going to answer that question. And I love photography. And these are actually some pictures I took when I travel. As I said, I travel quite a bit, so actually I have a lot of pictures. What all these things have in common, though, all these things have human interaction in common, right? I'm not a big game player, and even if I was playing World of Warcraft, you could argue that there's still human interaction nowadays involved as they meet at one place to play online. So now you get to know the person Nino, and I'm not going to bother you any longer with all that technology stuff. I hope you understood that information changes depending on where you are in the world. And there's different levels of appreciation if you use technology. Every part of technology has a different level of appreciation. And I think the personal meeting, the one we have for the next 3 days, is actually the highest form of appreciation. And when I talk about laugh, I just heard that the average person laughs about 16,000 minutes in his life, which is equal to about 11 days. And I certainly hope that I have surpassed that already. I certainly hope that with all the business and meetings and negotiations you'll have in the next couple of days, that the fun part will be involved as well, and that you actually find a lot of things to laugh with each other. Because laughing is also something that technology will never replace, and I don't know when I have laughed the last time at a piece of technology. So don't underestimate the human touch. And if you want to get in touch with me afterwards, you can certainly feel free to ask questions, or you can contact me anytime. And for those of you who still think that technology is the much better way, you can email me. And for the ones that rather go for a cappuccino, this is where my office is located, and I'm happy to see you anytime for a coffee or a quick lunch. Thank you, everyone, for your attention. Have a great ITB Asia, and make sure to email me about the good things and the things where we need to improve. Thank you very much.